Hey everyone of the podcast universe, this is your host Dave off of the Well Nothing Is Happening podcast, and welcome back. Just to kind of keep you guys updated, I have been going through my interview season. For those of you who do not know me at all, I'm a fourth year medical student applying to a family medicine or multiple family medicine residencies, that is. And for those of you who do not know what the process is, basically, as you reach the end of medical school, you finally apply for these things called residencies, which is where you obtain extra training in whatever specialty that you really want to do. So in my case, I really want to do family medicine just because I like the broadness of it, and overall, I just think family medicine is a really cool thing. So, just as a huge disclaimer, so today I'm going to be sharing one of my worst interview experience so far, and I just want to just give the disclaimer that this again is a subjective view of this program. It doesn't mean that this program is absolutely terrible, and I'm not trying to say completely negative things or anything. This is just kind of how I felt the interview went. And so I will be very vague with saying that this hospital system or this program, again, just because I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea or anything. And again, it's a very subjective type thing, especially when it comes down to interviews. Interviews are just quite subjective in general. And with that, I guess I can start telling you about my interview. So, my interview was today, and it was absolutely awful. So it started at like 7:45 in the morning, and most interviews, I want to say, so far, most of them that I've had thus far, and also I've only had 4, has been like maybe 10 in the morning. So, not as early as 7:45, but it's fine, I guess. Maybe they just wanted to start their day early, which is completely fine. I'm actually a morning person. But anyways, I remember just waking up and, just getting ready as I normally do, and I got dressed and everything, and it's a virtual interview, so luckily you only have to dress up, from the top up pretty much, to make that look nice and presentable. And so I remember once we kind of got on the Zoom call and everything, the program director essentially asked everyone, to say their name and really to share why did you want to be in that area, which is really weird. Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things where I just felt that I wasn't completely prepared for that question, but nonetheless, that area was pretty nice, and I had a okay answer, I suppose. I did talk about like the food scene in this area and whatnot, and so I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Plus, this is just an icebreaker, so whatever. Anyways, the one odd thing though, just to kind of backtrack, so most of the time, because of these virtual interviews, they typically do a meet and greet. And so the meet and greet is just kind of a way for you to typically meet up with the residents and whatnot. And this program didn't have a meet and greet, and I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not sure if just the scheduling didn't work or they just don't do meet and greets. I don't know. It was just very odd that they didn't do it. So after the initial icebreaker and everything, they ended up breaking us out into multiple rooms and everything. And I remember the first room I got placed in was of just a PowerPoint of this program. There wasn't a video of the program or anything like that, which is another strange thing, is because most programs I've looked at had videos and whatnot. And this one just apparently had a slideshow that was on a running loop. And so I was just rather bored just kind of looking at this PowerPoint that was just ongoing, telling about their program. And I mean, the PowerPoint really didn't give me that much more information, to be honest. It was rather useless because their website was bare bones and that PowerPoint was bare bones as well. So anyways, I don't know, it's very odd. So then moving on to my first interviewer, it was with the quote-unquote faculty panel. And so this quote-unquote faculty panel was just one person. And this one person, it was kind of interesting. I don't think she was American at all, because I remember when I was talking with her, we were talking a little bit about just kind of my application and everything, and I guess maybe she kind of did have an accent or whatever, but it wasn't too bad or anything. But anyways, one of the things that she verbalized on just about my application in general was that, and I'm quoting her, that she struggled seeing like, why am I interested in family medicine? And I'm like, what? So that was just the most bizarre thing ever. Just because I don't know about you guys, but I actually really tried with my application. So there's this ERAS application, which is the electronic residency application service or whatever. And basically, you have to fill out like a whole personal statement. You have a bunch of experiences and whatnot. And literally, I was the president of Family Medicine Interest Group. I had all these other different things. So I had a lot of things on there that really pointed that I really enjoyed family medicine. And with her kind of just saying that I quote unquote struggle to see your interest in family medicine, that was absolutely bizarre to me. It was crazy. Anyways, and believe it or not, that was one of the easier interviewers. So I don't know what was happening. Anyways, so then my next interview portion was with the residents there, and the residents there, it was only two third years. It was a quote unquote residency panel, and it was two third years. And it was quite weird because usually on these residency panels, or residency interviews with other residents, typically there's an intern or a second year or somebody because when you start the following year, the previous third years will have graduated and become attendings or done fellowships or something. So overall, that was very strange to me. I don't really know. And then I asked them the question of what really surprised you about the program, and I think they just kind of gave me some like cheap answer and basically said, "Oh, I can't believe how much I grew." And I mean, honestly, just being real, like residency, you're supposed to grow. So I don't know why that really surprised her. But anyway, I don't know. That was just super bizarre. But anyways, so then yeah, the residents were actually very mean in terms of their question. I believe one question, it was just very odd. It was like, what was your life? Like if you had to give a title to your life, if it was a movie or a book, what would it be? And I'm just like, what? That is absolutely bizarre. Who in the world comes up with that question? And then on top of that, they would ask me like random things, like for instance, conflict resolution, which is fine. That's a fair question, but it's just whenever you're typically interviewing with residents, it's usually a lot more chill. But apparently, this one was not chill, so I don't really know. And then on top of that, their faces were very much stone cold, like no emotion. And I think one girl even said that she was sleepy. And I'm like, okay, thanks for sharing, I suppose. I don't know. Honestly, after that, I probably should have quit the interview, but I just kind of continued on because I was like, okay, maybe it'll get better. So then my next interview was with the PD, which is the program director, and he was actually really nice. He was very pleasant. He answered my questions, which was very nice, and he had great ideologies. Like he was very set on having a great diversity within this program and great on wellness and whatnot. And when I asked him a little bit about wellness, he was like, "Oh yeah, you're going to be talking to the wellness coordinator next. So I'm not going to steal her thunder, which is fine." And I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, that would be fine." So then that was probably the best interview portion of the day, was talking to the program director. So then moving on to my last interview, which was with the wellness coordinator. And the wellness coordinator, I don't know what was going on with her, but she just kept on probing about my life. And I mean, yes, true, it is an interview, but the problem with kind of how she was probing at my life, she literally probed the whole entire 15 minutes to the point where I couldn't ask her questions about wellness in the program, which is, I don't know about you, kind of a small red flag, just because I remember on my first interviewer who, told me that she struggled seeing my application as family med oriented, whatever that's supposed to mean. She basically scoffed at the idea of me asking her about work life balance because basically, apparently, and I'm quoting her again, that work life balance does not exist. And so that just seemed like a really big, major red flag to me. And so overall, I don't really know how I felt about this program. I most certainly do not think they will be my top. And I'm actually not afraid to say that they're probably at the bottom, and I might not actually rank them just because of how they were. But aside from really the interview today, that's kind of all I did. It's been a lot of decompression. My interview ended about 10:30 this morning, and so I've been just spending the day just trying to not really think about too much. I didn't even go into pediatrics, infectious disease, just because again, it's just been a draining type day when you're sitting down, just trying to talk about yourself and trying to convince a program that you really fit when really, you're also trying to find a program that also fits you as well. But anyways, as for other things I've been kind of doing today, I actually got a message from one of my friends who is hosting a Friendsgiving, which is a mystery murder themed Friendsgiving, which is quite interesting. I've been given the character of D Minor, who is a musician slash and or music teacher, which is kind of interesting because I'm trying to figure out how to dress up as that. But overall, we'll see. The other thing that really has me super excited for this Friendsgiving, though, is the fact that I'll be able to make a homemade tiramisu. And I actually haven't made a homemade tiramisu in months. The last one I made, and the first one I've ever made, was for my birthday this year, and it was amazing. The flavors were so great. I really enjoy tiramisu just because it has a really nice coffee flavor, and those of you guys who really enjoy coffee, for sure, that's one of those things that is really great. Um, but I did find mascarpone cheese today, which is really exciting. And then I think I have the rest. So you need like lady fingers, and I believe you need some type of alcohol. So typically it calls for like a dark rum or a golden rum. I believe I'm just going to replace that with like cognac or some kind of like almond liqueur or something. I don't know. Something like that to really elevate the flavors. So again, very, very excited. One thing though that I did slightly go on was a small adventure this afternoon after I got back from the store. So I realized that I didn't pick up a disposable pan because my goal of making the homemade tiramisu in a disposable pan, just because I wanted to basically put the tiramisu down at the party, and whenever I wanted to leave that evening, if there's still tiramisu in there, I could just leave it there. That's kind of my goal of why I want a disposable pan. And so ultimately, I still needed to get one, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go on my walk in the neighborhood because I actually am in glasses now, so I can't really go running, and so I've been trying to go on more walks and stuff to try to get my steps in. And overall, I took a stroll around the neighborhood, walked maybe 2 miles or so, then eventually walked down to the store. I went to the dollar store first, and they didn't have a disposable pan. I was actually kind of surprised, but at the same time, I was like, whatever, it's fine. I then walked across the street to another grocery store, and luckily they had a disposable pan. But I remember as I was kind of walking down this road, it was really busy, and all these cars were like flying by me, and it was kind of crazy. It felt like I was about to get ran over, but luckily I only had to walk a mile back. So, or sorry, half a mile back. So that wasn't too bad. And overall, yeah, I'd say after that walk, I felt a whole lot better, especially after me just kind of decompressing on an afternoon walk. So definitely strongly recommend doing that if you're ever stressed, kind of like me, or just have some free time. Always get your steps in. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all the updates I can give you guys thus far. Hopefully, as the interview season continues, it's not going to be anything nearly as rough as this. But again, no promises, and hence why I'm saying worst interview ever so far. Well, thank you guys for listening, and I will tune in with you guys again next time, alright? See ya.